The UN Secretary-General Antonio Gueterres has presented the latest report on the situation in the Moroccan Sahara. In the report, Gueterres highlights Morocco's efforts and achievements in promoting and protecting human rights. What is your comment on this?
In his last report on the Sahara issue, the United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Gueterres reaffirmed and recalled the fundamentals of a solution to the conflict of the Sahara that is solely based on a just, pragmatic, sustainable, mutually accepted, and based on compromise to this regional dispute as stipulated in the previous resolutions of the Security Council Resolution 2494, 2468, and 2440. I think in the same vein, Gueterres also highlighted the political momentum that emerged from the roundtables in Geneva, set up by the former personal envoy of the UN Secretary General for the Sahara, with the participations of the concerned parties, notably Morocco, the Polisario, Algeria, and Mauritania, insisting it is very important that the only way out of this crisis is the continuation of this political process that should be exclusively within the UN framework. In addition, the UN Secretary General congratulated Morocco on its excellent cooperation with the MINURSO during this difficult period in COVID-19. That is to say, Morocco has unequivocally supported the MINURSO on several aspects, providing assistance through the granting of the rapid results of the test, the COVID-19 test, and also facilitating the travel of civilian and military personnel in the areas of operation of the mission. Also, the Secretary General in this report, he alerted the members of the Security Council very firmly of the multiple violations of the ceasefire of the military agreement number 1 committed by the Polisario. In the report, the Secretary General mentioned 59 violations of the Polisario front and more than 1,000 individual violations, citing the multiple incursions. For instance, there were multiple incursions of the separatists of the Polisario in the buffer zone of the Gueterres, reminding the public that the Gueterres buffer zones are demilitarized zones set up by Morocco during this the military agreement number 1, and also the Polisario since 2017. Whenever there is something happening at the UN regarding the Sahara, they were always attempting to block the commercial passage between Morocco and Mauritania in these zones. So these violations, in general, they constitute a flagrant challenge to the resolutions of the Security Councils, and the members of the Security Council repeatedly expressed their concerns about the presence of the armed separatists of the buffer zones of the Gueterres, and they demanded their immediate withdrawal. Also in the report, the Secretary General enumerated the human rights violations committed by the Polisario leadership on the Sahrawi population sequestered in the camps, in Tindouf camps, such as the arrests and mistreatment of the bloggers, of the doctors during the COVID-19, and the enforced disappearances of any persons who denounces the reality in Tindouf camps, and also anyone who denounced the lack of responsibility of Algeria, that is considered as a host country, concerning the protection of human rights in this territory. So in general, this report of the UN Secretary General is aligned within the positions of the Kingdom of Morocco in regards of the continuing of the political negotiations, and it was cited that in order to find a solution, one has to continue these political negotiations within the framework of a realistic, pragmatic political solutions based on the compromise. Also that, that is aligned with the autonomy plan proposed by Morocco. Also the fact that, in the report, it shows that this report goes in line with Morocco's position in the fact that Morocco has not ceased to draw the international community to the seriousness of the violations of the Polisario in the Tindouf camps, in the buffer zones also, and the hindrance it places on MINURSO to accomplish its missions. And finally, the links that the Polisario has with the armed terrorist groups in the Sahel, which threatens the stability of the region.
The UN Security Council is scheduled to hold a meeting on October 31st. What do you think will come out from this meeting?
I think that the next meeting of the Security Council, which is taking place on October 31st, I think that one has to retain from the report of the UN Secretary General that there might be a renewal of the mandate of the MINURSO until October 2021. This will allow actually the Secretary General to nominate a new personal envoy for the Sahara. I also assume that there will be also a call from the members of the Security Council to continue in the negotiation process within the political framework based on a realistic, pragmatic political solution based on compromise. Furthermore, Algeria as the host country and which has responsibilities regarding or vis-a-vis the Sahrawi population sequestered in Tindouf camps will also be reminded to get more involved and to recognize that its role is vital and important in resolving this regional conflict. As a reminder, now Algeria is really mentioned on several occasions in the former resolutions of the Security Council of the conflict, and it's a matter now that it's between the Security Council and Algiers. So let's not always say that it's Morocco that is always saying that Algeria is a part and parcel of the conflict, but also now it's also the Security Council that is conscious that among the solutions of this conflict is the real involvement of Algeria in resolving that artificial regional conflict. So I think that the next Security Council is going to highlight two important elements: that the solution for this problem must be political, realistic, based on compromise, and all these terms are aligned, identified with the initiative of the autonomy plan presented by Morocco. And secondly, Algeria will be asked to be more involved and to participate actively in the resolution of this regional conflict that is now taking place for more than 40 years, noting that Algeria has been cited or is now cited in every resolution. We can find Algeria cited 4 to 5 times in the Security Council resolutions.
And how is the process going with nominating a new personal envoy for the Sahara?
Now, at the United Nations, the Secretary General is working on recruiting or nominating a new personal envoy for the Sahara. However, it's very important that the new upcoming personal envoy learns from the former UN diplomats who were in charge of the Sahara affairs. Let's just recall that, this conflict tested James Baker's imaginations and patience from 1997 to 2004, where he proposed a referendum that did not lead anywhere. And as you may see now, the term referendum is being dropped or is dropped or is not mentioned anymore on the Security Council resolutions. His successor at the UN, Peter van Velsen, resigned after 3 years because he believed that independence was not and is not a viable solution. Christopher Ross, who after several rounds, more than 13 rounds, to discuss new proposal from the parties in 2007 did not succeed in making progress on the issue. Then came Hurst Collar with new dynamic, inviting the concerned parties to resume and continue the political process. However, during Hurst Collar, there was sometimes this mix that, the African Union should also take ownership of the Sahara issue. But let's recall that the main role of the African Union is only to accompany, assist the political process, that it must be exclusively under the United Nations Security Council.
So finally, the UN mediation role, in this conflict should be redefined in light of the current development of the southern provinces of Morocco, as well as the threats of the refugee Tindouf camps on the stability and security of the region, and also, and that goes without saying, Algeria's full-fledged role in this conflict.
Dr. Yasmine Hasnawi, specialist in Maghreb affairs and the Sahara question, thank you for joining us today.